I know? Well, I mean, I knew it once I started working on Boonie Mayfield Presents.
Okay.
Like, once I really started working on that, I think, you know, I made Mile High was the very first song I made.
Okay.
That started that album. But, you know, that was a big Pink Floyd influence, Beatles influence and stuff. But by the time once I made Haterade, I think once I made Haterade and Blade Brown of that project, then it was just like, okay, this is this is something else. This is like, this is me.
Yeah.
And it just, and I think what made it, I think a long time ago I saw some interview with Andre 3000, like in some magazine, where he was talking about when you find your voice, when you find it, it's just like, it's so natural.
Yeah.
Like, you're not really trying no more. It's not a struggle. It just feels like breathing.
Yep.
It's like walking. I mean, we all learn to walk.
Right.
At a very young age. You know what I'm saying? We learn to walk, but everybody walks different.
Right.
But once you walk, you're not trying to, you don't have to prove that you can walk anymore.
Right.
You don't have to, you just walk.
Right.
You don't have to be, you know, so when you're just walking, you're not even thinking about how it is you walk and stuff like that. You're just, and that's where it is, like, when you're doing that musically, it's just like, you're almost not even thinking of it. It's just, then you just know. You know what I'm saying? That's how I just knew. I just knew because I was like, man, I wasn't questioning it really. It's just, it was like natural. It was just natural. Yeah. So definitely when I started working on that project, when I really felt it.
Yeah. Do you have any plans for the future to release any more sample kits, like more in the vein of like the Boonie Tunes?
Well, the producers that I'm working with here, they're already good. You know, Saeed Ali, who I collaborated with on my latest song, So Much More.
Okay.
He's cooking something up. That's gonna be nasty. So I'm really kind of just trying to help bring other people in that I see the potential, so they can start doing their thing. For me, it's not really my plan to, unless I don't mind like helping conduct, like getting involved with a band and coming up with some stuff. Right. But it just me sending, all that was for me practicing. All of these sample kits was me, I'm just kind of not really in that mode right now of that. So, but I have considered all the kits that are, the loop packs I just put out. That's all from what I did in Logic from 2002. I haven't dug in my MPC archives. I haven't dug in my MPC archives. I'll have to rent or borrow a Moti sound module to pull up on. But I have every single beat in unfinished session from my MPC 1000 that I have not, and that's well over hundreds of things. So eventually I'm probably gonna go ahead and dust that off
and get back in there.
Go ahead and pull out a bunch of loops, a bunch of stuff I don't even remember making.
That's crazy, man.
That's probably a plan in the future.
Yeah. Does now this is getting on just on the flip side. We was talking as fellow geeks and whatever. Does it ever affect your music with you being having certain tastes in like movies or sci-fi or comic books? Does that ever come into your music?
All the time.
Yeah,
it's like one of where I draw inspiration from, because I mean, it's like I'm my mom's only child, so being raised by my mom, I was to myself a lot. So it's just like I relied on movies in the 80s movies, comics, and all those different things. Like, so that's where I mean, all those things stem. That's why I sample a lot from those things. If you listen to one of my mixtapes, I sample parts from The Last Dragon, and then parts from Blues Brothers, and like these are and then Purple Rain and stuff. These are all movies I was watching. Yeah, sound bites from your childhood and stuff like that I grew up on, and everything that impacted me and stuff like that. Because I'm a big like movie kind of connoisseur, like I'm into different stuff. So yeah, it plays a big part of my inspiration. Huge part.
That's something that's dope, man. Because I find a lot of times that, you know, like we were saying, as far as the fact that a lot of people feel you have to do things a certain way, it kind of limits what you can do. When you can reach outside of that world of hip hop and bring something in, it's more refreshing. You know what I mean?
One of my favorite groups of all time, hip hop groups of all time, Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, Wu-Tang. Yeah, they built the whole empire on that, man.
They were taking things that were just so like kung fu. What are you doing with all these kung fu flicks?
Obscure, man.
What are you doing with all this?
Yeah.
What is going
on? They built the whole empire
and these dudes are into kung fu flicks, chess, all this stuff. Like, that's what was so awesome about Wu-Tang. It's just like, you know, the reason I could relate to it in a way is just like I ain't come from where they come from.
Right.
But it was just like, this was that street shit.
Right.
But nerdy street shit.
Nerdy street shit.
It's like
intellectual, like,
shit.
whoa.
It's like, that's what was so weird and it's so cool about them, because it was like, wait, these dudes are like nerds, but they'll punch you in the face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ghostface will punch you in the face. RZA will punch you in the face with pointed rings.
That's the truth.
That he, you know, and that's what was so special about that. So that's where it's just like, what they did, nobody can ever really ever trick. Name any producer who's really been able to emulate Wu-Tang.
Nobody.
No.
The greats can't be. They can't be duplicated, man. They can simply be imitated. But like you were saying about the rappers that have like Timbaland and Pharrell, who would want an imitation of those people? You know what I mean? Like, you got the original. What's the legacy that you plan to leave behind, man? As far as your music and everything that you've done, what is that you like? You know, you have fiance and you all getting married. And you have children. What is it that you would want to leave behind to them musically?
Really just, I guess, you know, musical freedom. I mean, I think that's the best way I could put it. Just no restrictions, going back to exploring and just doing it all. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know, you look at, there was artists like Ray Charles, the late great Ray Charles, who was one of the founding people of soul music. Mm-hmm. Like him, Solomon Burke, and founding members of soul music, and then turn around and do a country album.
Right. No restrictions.
It still sounded like Ray Charles, but he did a country album. He loved country and Western music. He loved that. You know what I'm saying? And then go and do a gospel record.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then you know what I'm saying? And then do some jazzy stuff and things with orchestras and stuff. So that's where it's just like, I just want to leave behind being able to just like, just being creative. If you love music, do whatever you feel like doing. Right. Don't be, you know, limited by what other people, just do whatever it is you want to do. You want to do a rap album one moment and then turn around and do a punk rock album. If you're into both, then fine. You know, that's why I respect, you know, the cats like, you know, Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park. It's just like, you know, you got Linkin Park that mixed the metal with rapping and then you turn around and then it's just like, then he does Fort Minor, which was like, yo, he's a hip hop head. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and that's amazing. You know what I'm saying? There's just so much more. So I just, what I want to leave behind is just open-mindedness for all music, all cultures of music, all, like, if you like it, if it feels good, don't be afraid to love it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like when I was a kid, the first rock song that grabbed me was "Smells Like Teen Spirit."
Crazy.
And I was afraid to tell my friends.
Crazy.
Back then.
Crazy.
You know, I was in like fifth grade.
That's crazy.
And Nirvana, I remember that song would come on MTV and I would just always be like, whoo, this song is so crazy. My friends be around like, oh yeah, this song is great. Change the channel, go back to BT. Yeah, let's go back to Rap City, y'all. You know, you feel like that kid, like I felt like, you know, back then, like I couldn't just like all these things, so I secretly was like, I love Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
That joint, but it's just like, of course, nobody should have any kind of shame of all the music you listen to, because back in the day, everybody listened to just about any and everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a YouTube video out that's got a concert where Michael Jackson and Prince came on the stage with
James.
You seen that?
I know that one.
Oh man, I seen that. I lost
one.
it, man.
I know that. Yeah.
If you listen to all three artists side by side, you hear so many parallels, man. It's like, okay, Prince made his interpretation of what James Brown built. Michael built his whole thing off of what James Brown built, but they took it in such different directions.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like you saw all three of them on the stage at one time. It's almost like too much. You know what I mean?
It was something else.
Yeah.
I watched that video. I love that video, but I have my I have my funny theories about that video, because I feel like because I know, like, it was when Michael went up to James, was like, yo, call Prince up. And I feel like Prince, it was just like, I just feel like Prince maybe did not want to go up there. Right. It's like, wait a minute, y'all up there y'all are dancing. Right. Y'all are doing the dance moves. Right. I dance.
Right, but I'm
a musician. I'm a guitar player. Like, James ain't up there playing the guitar and shredding, and neither are you, Michael. Y'all over there moonwalking and shuffling. Like, I like to do splits and hump the floor. That ain't gonna. I can't do that. And so I just felt like, I don't know, man. I just felt like
it's the truth,
I felt like Prince got cheated.
He did. And then he came up the stage and bumped into the thing.
I could be totally wrong.
No, I swear I'm on the same wavelength.
I have this theory, like Prince got cheated on there, and like it was almost.
It's the truth.
It's like he got there. He's like, man,
come on, y'all.
He's like, because I think first he wanted to get a guitar first, but it was just like, man, I don't know.
I'm gonna go up here and try this out. Let me do this.
Because it's just like, because Michael Jackson's version of shredding was dancing.
Right, that was it.
Dance move. Prince's shredding is on
the guitar, man.
And that's why it's just like, what he does on it, he is a guitarist.
He really is.
And, you know, sometimes because of his production and his, you know, his flair and his voice, all that, with sometimes people would not really, of course he's great, they would say it, but they wouldn't really know how technically sound he is on the guitar and stuff. And so that wasn't a moment for him to really show that. It was just like, wait a minute, what do y'all want me to do?
Right, you know, y'all are
right now, like,
dancing.
yes, I'm influenced by James Brown too, but what am I?
Right.
You know, so it was just like, I just felt, I don't know. I feel like if, you know, they were calling Prince up there, and Michael should be like, hold on a second, slow down the music real quick. Right. And then handle guitar or whatever, and like move out the way real quick.
And let him get it. Right. It would have been a whole different scenario.
It would have been a whole different scenario.
Yeah. That tripped me out when I saw that, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
That's just my little theory, though.
I'm with you on that. Because when I saw that, I'm like,
I'm glad somebody else felt.
He was doing his thing, but he was out of his element.
He was out of his element. I just felt like he's just, I just felt like he kind of got cheated on that one. I do.
It came a point where you swore off sampling, right?
Oh yeah.
When you did that, what was the motivation behind that? As far as saying, I'm not gonna sample anymore, I'm just gonna learn to play, etc., etc.
Couple things. It was actually a series of events at the end of 2009. First one was I was selling beats online on SoundClick full time.
Okay.
And I came home and my account was under review, mainly like, you know, cut off. And I'm just like, yo, why is my account? I got over 300 beats on this thing.
Awesome.
Okay, you know, and they're like, oh, you have samples on your stuff, and I'm like, yo, if you're taking me off, you need to go ahead and take all these other producers that got samples. They're like, well, actually, that's how we found out about you. We cut off somebody else, and he mentioned, well, Boonie Mayfield got samples.
He'd be like, hey man, quit snitching, man.
Snitch. Oh, snitch.
Oh, that's
like
wrong.
Whatever. So that's what happened.
That's messed
up,
man.
I had to take off every beat that had samples.
Damn.
And I was making beats from scratch too, but mind you, I had
more
about 300 beats. Once I took off all the beats I had samples, how many beats do you think I had left on there?
Probably a handful.
30.
Whoa.
And then that's where I was just like, I'm not in control of 90% of my music. That's I'm like, people could just cut my stuff because I don't have the money for clearing it and all this stuff. It ain't placed. It's just out there.
Game plan change.
So that's how I was just like, man, okay. I had that little kind of, and so I'm struggling financially now and trying to figure out a new platform to put my beats on, whatever with samples. And then I was visiting. I was actually in Chicago for the first time. Yeah, I was out Chi-Town, for the first time. Visiting a friend out there, and while we're out there, we even went record shopping. I was happy to go record shopping and everything. We went back to his crib. And all of a sudden, he plays a joint. He just plays a song, and it happened to be Mayor Hawthorne. Okay. Green Eyed Love. I never heard of this dude yet. And he just played. I'm sitting here thinking this is some 70s record or something. I was like,
we serious?
Who is this?
We serious?
He's like, yo, it's this cat named Mayor Hawthorne. Like, dude's like, I'm like, when did this come out? He's like last year or this year. I'm like, what?
Yep.
And then I find out that he played all the instruments. And that's when I was just like, what? I'm like, wait a minute. And then I find out this dude, he used to go by DJ Haircut, and he was in the Red Bull Big Tune Battles 2 before. And I'm like, okay. And then on top of that, I get back home, and then I hear the Black Dynamite soundtrack and see the Black Dynamite. And then Adrian Young. And then I'm just, at that point, because I hear Mayor Hawthorne's music and it's got, the crooner music. Right. I'm not making crooner music. Nah, it inspired me to what, like, okay, I don't, but once I heard Adrian Young's type
he took it straight to the era.
That's when I was like, no, I'm not, nope more. I already just learned how to use Logic. Okay. So now I can sequence all those things. I transitioned off the MPC. I have all these sounds and stuff from Native Instruments and stuff that sound authentic. I'm like, yo, I'm going in. Yeah. I'm just gonna go in on those on this, because if these cats can do it, I know I can do it too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. I was just inspired. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. So it wasn't like I had anything against sampling. I still don't, because me as a rapper, I still will take a sample loop, won't put no drums, nothing, just the sample itself and rap over it.
I swear, man.
You know what I'm saying? That's why, you know what I'm saying? So I still love, but me as a producer, I was just like, okay, I felt like I hit a plateau or a point of the best. It's just like, man, I am not gonna get as great as Dilla on this sampling game. This is the most I've been able to do with sampling. Okay, I'm gonna have to venture off.
Even Dilla did multi-instrumentalist.
Yo, Dilla, he was always.
And Dilla always reinvented himself.
He was always steps ahead.
Don't get me on him, man. You see what I'm rocking, man.
Yeah, I say, man, I got him tattooed on my shoulder. Like he was always steps ahead and everything like that.
Somebody would get on that. It's funny about him, to branch off for a second. Somebody would get on his vibe because he'd be doing something so hard. He dropped that move over here. You know what I'm saying? Then somebody go over here try to take. He go over here somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just how it was, man. And when it comes to being an MC and a rapper, does that affect? I already know the answer to this, but I just want you to expound on it. Does it affect the way you make your music because you know what rhythms you would say to
completely
it?
Now. Yeah, completely. Yeah. Because now it's just like I know what I want to do rhythmically and what I want to be present. So there'll be times like I know exactly, like if I made a beat, I know if I want my flow, my rhythm, my flow to be so much more present and looser, and people just and whatever, I don't put hi-hats in.
Okay, gotcha.
I leave that open, because when you don't have the when you have that going, you know, you can't be as loose without it, you know, whatever. But when you don't have the hi-hat in there, it's just a kick and a boom.
Right.
And then you're the percussive, you take over where there's no hi-hat, then your rhythm is more I guess accentuated. Exactly. It's way more accentuated. So it changes the whole dynamic of it, because and it's a special thing. I think it's just like, you know, I didn't know about the whole deal of what it took to produce when I first was just rapping either. You know what I'm saying? I just was like, I think the first producer I became the biggest fan of was like Primo.
Okay, yeah.
But I wasn't sitting there thinking, I didn't care about what equipment he used or what samples he used. I wanted his beats to rap on. It's just like, I'd hear Boom from Royce 5'9". I'm like, why can't I get beats like this? Why can't I get beats like Nas is like? With all this, I'm just like, I want this. And so, since I couldn't get, it was just like, I need to learn. I'm gonna teach myself to do it somehow to make these beats. And then I went with it. But the thing is, it's just like, not everybody has the time or wants to take the time to really go engulf themselves in just producing, because sometimes it can take, you end up taking a break from rapping. I took years off. So that's why I think these sample packs, the Boonie Tunes and Boonie Loops, yes, they're for producers and stuff, but there's so many producers out there that like to program their own drums or whatever and different things like that. This also is a help for rappers out there that know how to sequence, at least know how to use their DAWs and stuff like that, that have a little bit of beat making capabilities, but it's just like, man, they're like, I wish I could have those Dilla-like drums or the Primo-like drums, but I have to learn how to program and choose the right sounds. Man, this is hard. But you got this loop kit where, all I got to do is throw in this dope loop. Boom. Okay? And then it's like, wait, I got this sample over here. And then, it takes off all the work that they have to do for people that want to rap. And also, not just them, instrument players. Yeah. I know some of the best keyboard players in the world. Dope. I love not in the world, but just just go crazy with it. But when they try to produce something,
it ain't happening.
Everything, the piano sounds so good, but everything else just
it's like, nah, stop.
It's just like the drum choices, the singing, everything. So it's just like, I know a lot of cats out there that are killer on the neo soul keys and stuff like that, but they can't get that real drum.
That rhythm,
there they go. Hear these loops. Boom. That's taken care of. Now I can just play all my craziness with this, and that's what I think. These loops, I feel like it's been getting to the producers, but just when it gets to the instrument players, and more rappers take notice of it, I think it could be a great help for them. Because if I would have had that kind of stuff,
and see, that's the thing too, man. Nowadays, man, all the stuff that's going on in the sample game and the sound design game, this shit didn't exist years ago, man. Did you ever have that moment where, like looking back when I started getting into laptops, I was like, I remember back them days thinking, I wish I had a laptop. And here I am now, everything is laptop based or computer based. Exactly. Did you ever have that moment where, when you were doing it back in the days where you started off where you're like, man, I wish I had A, B, and C, and then got ahead into the future and said, man, I remember when I didn't have it like this, where I had to go through all kind of hoops just to get,
completely, because like when I was using Reason, I was using, I was in an independent label at the time, so our managers, the CEO of the label, using his computer at the office. My friend who gave me Reason was going to school for music engineering, recording engineering stuff. So he's the one that brought it in and installed it, and I had to learn it off that. And then he installed it on my brother's computer. I have two half brothers, and so when we were living together, they had a computer. I didn't have my own computer, so I was using other people's computers to make beats. And then I moved in to an aunt's house after that, and then I got it installed on her computer so I could make beats on. So I'm just like, this whole time I'm just wishing I could get a laptop. And then there was this investor that, when I was still in the independent label, that was around, and him and I were really cool. And then I remember I just spoke with him one day. I was just like, yo, man, I really need to get my own laptop so I can get my. I'm like, if I could work out a loan with you or something, I could pay you monthly, something. He's like, man, don't even worry about it. I got you. I mean, it was like, he just got. I was like,
that's crazy.
Huh? Yo, it was just like, already three years.
Wow.
Like 3.5 years of using everybody else's computer to make beats and stuff like that on. And finally, I was able to get in, and you know, the investor got me a PowerBook G4, the Mac PowerBook G4, and I was just like, you know, he's just like, yeah, man, just treat me to a, you know, when your first album drop, whatever, you know, all that stuff. And so it was just like, I think of you just saying that right now, it just made me think about that. Just like, man, I remember when I didn't have a laptop and I couldn't even afford my own. Wow. Somebody actually got that for me as pretty much as a gift because they believed in me.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? And then that's the laptop that you see on all my videos in 2007. I got the laptop in 2006.
Okay.
So, you know, all my videos in 2007, the MPC, the laptop that's right across, that was the one.
That's crazy. Shout out to homeboy who did that for you, man.
Yeah, man.
So you started off in Mac basically with the computer world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no. It was PC.
Okay.
And then, like all the reasons stuff before
before it was
but
PC,
when I got my own, I started with Mac because my boy, the recording engineer school friend, one day he's like, dude, you gotta, if you're gonna get a laptop, you gotta get a Mac. I'm like, but that shit's so expensive. I'm just gonna ask him for like, you know, getting a $300 Dell. Like, get the power. And he was so cool getting the PowerBook. And,
wow. He gave you the top.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing that people always ask me to this day, especially with these sample packs.
Okay.
These sample packs or my beats, Black Kool-Aid, whatever. They're like, man. They ask me about my mixing.
Because it's a Mac in there.
And I'm okay. Well, then I can sit here and tell you right now, I don't know shit about mixing. I don't know nothing about engineering.
Your ear just trained itself.
I had to train myself. I never use compression. I can't tell you what the threshold, blah blah, whatever all that stuff means. You know, the EQ I maybe do is take off a little low end on a sample or something. Right. I don't know nothing about limiters. Right. All this stuff. I don't know about mixing. Right. So it just it required me. I think what challenged me on my mixing was because where I was in an independent label. So one of the other managers, he every time I come with, I burn a new CD full of beats I just made, you know, on the computer, and we bump him in his car and stuff. He'd always just be smoking his cigar, just like, yeah, man, these sound dope, man, but your mix, man, the mix. And he always say that to me. Your mix is off. And I used to get frustrated because I'd be like, real. I'd be like, nigga, you're deaf in one ear. Literally.
That's funny.
Literally, my whole point, like,
funny,
he's
man.
deaf in one ear. And every time, be like, yo, mix is off, though. Your mix is off. I'm just like, you're deaf in one ear. But he knew. This one ear hearing. Man, knew what he was talking about. Because once I finally started getting it right, he wasn't saying nothing about my mixing. After a while, and I still wasn't on monitors yet. Okay. I still wasn't. I had to learn how to make my music sound good on what they call grok boxes. Out of grok boxes.
I know all about that.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's just like when I maneuvered the monitors and had to get used to the, you know, the feeling there. But that's why I invest. The first thing I invested in when I got a car was a system with some 10 subs in the trunk, whatever, so I could just take my car, my stuff out there and just ride around like, okay, I'm not like that, man. That hi-hat need to come down.